Bethesda's E3 happened on Sunday, and among the plethora of information we got was a new update to Fallout Shelter. Now, I will link the video that covers most of this information in the description, but there is no video just dedicated for Fallout Shelter itself. The TLDR of this patch is pretty much quests and the game being available on PC. Now, I will not even talk about it being available on PC, since it's a pretty straightforward concept and I've pretty much already played it on PC since it came out for Android. So it looks like the main point of this update is quest. Here is a look at the quest screen, which is very similar to your objective screen. Now we get a look at 3 quests here. The first one is kind of cut off, but it does give us some pretty good information. It says daily quest. It looks like it requires level 50 dwellers, and it looks like there will be rewards of weapons and armor or something to that nature. The third quest is a simple quest. It just says discover the fate of Maxon's Roughnecks. But you will notice that all these quests right here, the green quest, have Nuka-Cola Quantums, which I would assume that's what they are, as a reward. Now we have no real way to know what that's all about, but perhaps it's currency from its position. I don't know. We'll see it later in the video and we'll talk about it then. The second quest is one we see that kind of plays out in the video. It involves rescuing an NPC from some feral ghouls. Now the interesting thing about this is that you go to new locations, and from all sources it seems that you get to control your 3-man crew and kind of carry out the mission yourself, instead of just sending somebody out in the wasteland for 3.5 days and waiting for them to come back. It's a very welcome change indeed for longtime players. Next up, we get a look at some of the locations up close. The first is a red rocket, and then the second is the Super Duper Mart. I guess that dead raider is Maxon's Roughneck, his affiliate. I don't know, I can't say for sure. The only enemies on screen that they show are feral ghouls and a rad scorpion, which, I don't know, it looks very cool. I wonder how tough it is. I would assume it's below a Deathclaw, but above raiders and ghouls. I don't know. Also, right here, zoom in at the top, and we can see that there is the before mentioned Nuka-Cola Quantum currency. It has its own position next to Caps. Now, I have every reason to believe that this particular screenshot is inside the vault. There are 2 examples of this. I'll get them put up on the screen. My main reason to say this is because every quest footage we have seen only shows 2 icons at the top. There's a fleet icon on the left, and there is a map icon on the right. And it certainly looks like currency, but what is it used for? I mean, this is something we simply do not know, but something I'm pretty interested in. It's like kind of left out, but we'll see when it comes out. This last bit shows off a couple of interesting things. We talked about the flee a second ago, but I would assume it's just something to give up the mission, flee the area, something similar to that. And then there's a new targeting system. Now, honestly, I personally don't understand the targeting system with how combat kind of works inside the vault, but my guess is that this is something new that is specifically made for the quest areas outside with your crew, but we will also see about that. Some other things you can also see are shimmering safes, cabinets, lockers, which I will assume that hold loot or could be the goal for certain missions. And here you see the end result of the previously mentioned second quest, which is rescuing Paula Plumpkin. My last piece will be a line from an IGN article that covered Bethesda's E3 conference. It kind of gives you a couple of more tidbits. Now here is the exact read verbatim. Overseers will be able to take control of their dwellers and travel to new locations like abandoned buildings and decrepit vaults, or even familiar spots like Fallout 4's Red Rocket Fuel Stop and Super Duper Mart. With this all-new quest system, you can assemble a group of dwellers to take on challenges outside of the vault, uncover legendary loot, and face off against new enemies like rad scorpions, ghouls, and powerful bosses as you traverse the wasteland. Now, there are 3 things we can take from this little snippet of the article. 1, it tells us locations of old vaults and some other locations, abandoned buildings, not very specific. 2, it says uncovered legendary loot, which is very interesting because they removed legendary loot from Wasteland Exploration several patches ago, and I'm interested to see if it's back. And 3, face off against powerful bosses. What could that even mean? I'm hoping that this article is factual and not just kind of bullshitting us, maybe some misheard information, but to me that sounds like the most interesting part. Powerful bosses, what could that even mean? I'm excited about that. Now that is about all there was to see. It was a really short clip and they didn't talk about it very much at all, but I dug up and found out what I could. Now, it seems like the Fallout Shelter subreddit isn't really booming at the moment and the information isn't compiled together, so I thought I would share my closing thoughts as somebody who does a lot of Fallout Shelter content and it's helped my channel grow the most. So here are my closing thoughts. I think it's good. More content is always welcome. and maybe we will see even more quality of life, small fixes inside and outside the vault on the base game, on top of what looks like a very promising quest system. Now this part is speculation, but I feel like this might be the last big update we see for the game unless something just bugs out real bad and they have to patch it. And I say this because it seems like most of the big patches for Fallout Shelter coincide with Fallout 4, and they officially announced that that will be the last 3 DLCs for Fallout 4, so probably not too many more patches to come out. I could see this being the last big patch. Now, if this is the last update for Fallout Shelter, it's been a pretty good run. I can't even complain about it. Now, that is it for me, guys. There is no date on when this comes out. All we know is that it comes out in July, so it's fairly soon, not too bad. And if you follow the channel, you know I'll be on it the day it releases, and you'll get some content as soon as possible. And if you are not familiar with me, subscribe if you would like some more. As usual, guys, slapping that like button helps out the channel the most. And remember to check out the channel every Friday and Wednesday if you were just jonesing for some more Fallout Shelter, if you want to improve at the game. But that's it, guys. I will catch you guys on the next video. Honestly, I forgot Fallout Shelter update was even a possibility at E3. Wow.